watching Third Degree. Welcome. 18 years into democracy, we still see pockets of prejudice and intolerance, whether it's race, religion or sexual orientation, and still it cuts deep when hate crimes occur. Last month in Magaliesburg in the northwest, two Muslim men, Mohammed Kazi and Ansar Mahmoud, were attacked by two white Afrikaners, supposedly because they had long beards. Later, one of them died. The assault occurred during the holy month of Ramadan. Producer Megan Small-Lipka attempts to unpack exactly what happened and why.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
Ramadan, Islam's holiest month. For 30 days, Muslims fast between sunrise and sunset. It signifies self-discipline, peace and tolerance. Then, at the sighting of the new moon, it's time to celebrate Eid.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
But for the Kazi family, Eid 2012 would not be a time for festivities, a time to eat fine food. Instead, they would mourn the death of their loved one, Mohammed Kazi, who was beaten to death after defending his religious and cultural right to wear a beard. Was this an isolated incident, or is Islamophobia gathering momentum, as it has in many parts of the world? In August, a week before Eid, Ansar Mahmoud and his friend Mohammed Kazi were on their way home to Krugersdorp. They stopped at a fast food outlet in Magaliesburg in the northwest to buy food for iftar, their evening meal to break the fast. Out of nowhere, two white men started mocking Mohammed, called him Osama Bin Laden because of his long beard. It did not stop there. According to witnesses, the insults started flying from both sides. Eventually, they were thrown out of the food outlet. Passers-by say they heard shouts of Kuli with the beard and the derogatory K-word. It then turned violent. Ansar was smacked in the face, knocked out. Mohammed was kicked repeatedly as he lay face down to protect himself from the blows. Then his head was trampled on. Police arrived at the scene. The two white men had already fled. Ansar managed to drive himself and Mohammed to a hospital. Then Mohammed passed out. Back home, his family in Krugersdorp were preparing for evening prayers.
Then the doorbell rang and I went to the door expecting to see him, and I seen my brother, my brother-in-law, and from the look on his face, I asked him where's Fayaz, and he told me, open the door, and my knees went weak immediately. And then he came in after that and asked him again, where's Fayaz? And then he told me, like, Benny, go put your abaya on. And then I couldn't think straight, because the first thing that goes through your head is that something is wrong. And then when we got into the car, I seen his jacket and, it had blood on it, and I was very worried and I started crying. And when we got to the hospital, we weren't allowed to see him.
They were given dreadful news. Mohammed was already brain dead. Hoping against hope, they took him from hospital to hospital. Maybe someone could help. But it was no good.
And we brought him back to Poch, and that whole morning up until 10, 10:30, we still had him on the machines. But then Then I had to make the decision, and we had to do it as a family, and we decided, you know what, there's no use keeping him if he's already gone. I remember that feeling that went through my head when they switched on that machine. Because they just said that if he breathes, they'll put him into a ward. But he didn't breathe after that. But his heart was still beating, and I kept my hand on his heart. And it beat, and then it just slowed down. And I had my hand there till his heart stopped beating.
He was laid to rest at the Lenasia cemetery. The family were enraged, the Muslim community angered.
We're very saddened by the fact that today we mourn the death of our son, who on the basis of his belief, on the basis of his beard, on the basis of his race, he was murdered, cruelly, brutally murdered by these mob of whites who thought that anyone that has a beard is a terrorist, anyone that has a beard is a Bin Laden, anyone that has a beard is an Indian coolie. And it's so sad to think that such a young life of 26 years must be buried today in the cemetery on the basis of the fact that he defended his beard and his beliefs.
Mohammed was a businessman who ran the shop in Krugersdorp. Despite the town being known for its racial divisions, his family were well respected.
Hulle het Krugersdorp toe gekom, langs ons ingetrek. Mense is maar skrikkerig aan die begin, want mense ken hulle nie. Ons het dadelik vriende gemaak, nie vriende gemaak nie, maar pa en ma kon nie Afrikaans of Engels praat nie. Mohammed was 'n klein seentjie gewees, die volgende oomblik was hy die spokesperson gewees. Elke middag kom hallo sê, ek het hulle skool toe gery, het elke oggend saam met my skool toe gegaan. My seentjies het opgegroei, hulle is baie jonger as Mohammed hulle gewees. Elke middag het hy gaan speel by hulle. Dit was vir my of dit so normaal was om hulle daar te hê, en dit was die wonderlikste om hulle as bure te hê, alhoewel hulle 'n ander nasie is.
It shamed her that this was a racial incident.
Dit is verskriklik. Vir my is dit vir hulle ook dalk erg, want ek meen ek is 'n blanke en dit is 'n blanke wat dit aan hom gedoen het. So vir my, ja, daar kan dalk kan ek sê 'n stop wees tussen ons, maar ek dink omdat hulle my goed ken, weet hulle, ek bedoel dit uit my hart uit nie. Ek is so jammer oor dit wat gebeur het.
Well, this is my wedding album, and yeah, it's still brand new. Should I open it for you?
Mohammed's wife, Sajida, is devastated.
This was the
They'd been married for just over a year.
actually raining that day. It gives over the
Newlyweds with dreams and aspirations.
we were just cutting the.
She was a teacher, her school right opposite the shop. They were never far apart.
We had a lot of goals. He had never really been on a holiday because he had to take over the family business at a very young age. He was the sole breadwinner. Without him, there wouldn't be a success in this family. Basically, he was very important. He was a standing pillar of strength.
His younger brother is left to take care of the family with no idea how to run this business.
For me personally, I regarded him as a brother, as a father, as a mentor, as a motivator, everything, advice. Whenever I needed someone to talk to, he was there. I just feel like I'm in a lost situation now. Who to go to? I just feel that.
Sajida will remain indoors for 4 months during her mourning. For our cameras, she's fully covered in keeping with her faith.
I couldn't imagine what he went through because he was never a person to hurt a fly. He wouldn't hurt a fly, he wouldn't fight with anybody. He was never that type of person.
Less than a week after his death, police arrested 2 white men from Rustenburg.
Coming up, bail denied for one of the accused.